Chapter 8 of Puss in Boots Jr. in Fairyland. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Ben Nguyen. Puss in Boots Jr. in Fairyland by David Cory. The Diamond Pin. Now, when Puss Jr. came to the foot of the great high hill, he looked all around for the red ant who the Frog King said would tell him the road to Fairyland. And pretty soon he found her, but it took him some time, for she was very small, and her house was nothing more than a little mound of earth with a round hole in the middle for a door. "You had better follow the river," she said, pointing to a silver stream that wound in and out among the trees, "for it flows into Fairyland." And just then who should come by but Goosey Gander. "Come, let us travel together," said Puss, and this, of course, delighted the gander, for he was dreadfully lonely at Dame Trot's inn, and felt sure she was feeding him with lots of nice things just to make him fat for Christmas. So off they started, and the gander said, "Why don't you ride on my back, and I will fly? I'd much rather than walk." Well, as soon as Puss was seated on Goosey Gander's broad back, away he went flying through the air almost as swiftly as a swallow, and by they crossed a meadow where a big silver spoon was being chased by a big round dish. Hey diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle, the cow jumped over the moon. The little dog laughed to see such sport, while the dish ran away with the spoon. And then Puss laughed so hard that he fell off Goosey Gander's back and hurt his leg. And that silly old goose was so scared that he flew home as fast as he could. Well, Puss didn't know what to do, so he tooted on a little tin horn, and then up came an old dog. Old Dog Tray was his name, I think. And as soon as he saw Puss Jr., he said, "I'm the son of old Mother Hubbard's dog. Get on my back and I'll carry you to my house in the woods." So Puss climbed up on his back, and a little owl came along too, and by they came to a little dog house under a big spreading chestnut tree, where old Dog Tray roasted chestnuts and sold them to the children in the autumn. And pretty soon Puss was made very comfortable, and his sprained leg was bound up in a soft cloth, and he was given a plate of fish, which he loved more than candy or ice cream. "You can stay here as long as you like," said old Dog Tray, taking out his pipe and smoking it, while the little owl hunted around for mice, of which he was very fond. But the little mice stayed in their hole in the pantry and never came out, so the owl had to be contented with a piece of cheese which they had left in a funny little round trap because they were afraid to pull it out. Weren't they wise little mice, though? Well, I guess they were. But don't forget that Puss Jr. loved to travel, and a traveler, you know, is ever restless. He wants to be going all the time, so as soon as his leg got well, Puss Jr. thanked old Dog Tray and set off once more. And the owl went with him, for he liked Puss Jr. Why shouldn't he? And you will know why when I tell you he was the owl who went sailing in the beautiful pea-green boat. Yes, he was the same little owl who had rescued Puss once before from the wicked giant of the beanstalk. And I think it's awfully nice to have Puss Jr. meet all his old friends now and then, don't you? For who wants to lose a friend? Nobody does, I'm sure. Well, Puss Jr. and the owl traveled on and on through the shady wood until they came to a cave where there lived a dwarf whose name was Wrinkle-Face, for his face was just full of wrinkles, although his eyes were bright as stars. And when he saw Puss Jr., he laughed a funny little squeaky laugh, and said, "Puss in Boots Jr., as sure as I'm a foot high," which was pretty near the truth, for he was just 13 inches, and that's only 1 inch more than a foot, you know. "What can I do for you, Sir Cat?" he asked, with a wrinkly-crinkly smile, and Puss said he didn't know. So the dwarf said, "I'll show you my cave, for it's full of beautiful diamonds and rubies, and if you like me, perhaps I'll give you a diamond." So he took Puss and the owl inside his curious cave and gave him a beautiful diamond pin, which was very kind of him, I think, even if he had lots and lots of them. End of Chapter 8. Recording by Ben, Nguyen.